So let's start with a quick prayer. Father, thou art in heaven, we are here together again between friends from both planes of existence, in the only objective of studying Kardec's teachings, in particular about mediumship, and that will bring us some support to our own activities and to help others. That this study could be positive to everyone assisting, today or later. Be with us today and always. So be it.
Amen.
So let me share my screen with you, so then you can see the book. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you guys have stopped in the item 20 last week. So we're starting for the item 21. Closed mediumistic meetings are reserved for society members and shall be held on first, third, and, if applicable, on the fifth Friday of each month.
Sorry, Guilherme. We
Yes?
didn't read Article 20. We stopped.
Oh, I thought you did. Sorry.
No, we
I
stopped.
saw you saying we're going to read the 20. Okay.
Okay.
So let's rewind a bit, and I'm going back to the Article 20.
Yeah. And let me just make a comment before you start, because Charles gave us a very enlightening input last week about mediumistic meetings, or in French, is séance. And Charles said séance is a meeting, any meeting. But in English, séance is mediumistic meeting. And in this translation, they refer to meetings as mediumistic meetings. So we have to, walk carefully, and otherwise it won't make much sense. They say, well, mediumistic meeting for administrative work. So Charles pointed out, in French, séance, there is meeting, as you probably know. But here they use mediumistic meeting all the time, and sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Jenna, inside, come
Okay, very good point, Mia.
inside.
Very good point. Let me just put the phone here, because I think it'll be a bit better. Yeah, and some of translations, we always losing something or the meaning of what we want to translate. So that's normal.
Yeah.
So that's why I always, when I do have a doubt, when I do have something that I'm not feeling very comfortable with, I'm going into the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, download the books from Kardec's time, and I read what is there, And but because you can read French, no, not at all. Today, with the tooling we can find, the tools we can find on the internet, anybody can do that. Like Google Translate is a massive help in those situations as well. So, no spirit communication obtained outside the society may be, God bless you, society may be read without having been submitted to the president or the commission, who may or may not approve its reading. Why Kardec was having that kind of line of thought? Because when we do something on our own, sometimes lack a little bit of discipline, lack a little bit of control. And as Spiritism is also tied to a scientific philosophy, if you will, it's better to ensure that what you're getting is something you can trust, or at least that you had the means to properly identify what is coming. I've seen over the years message, like a page message, that at the first glance would be very positive, but there was something, a line amongst 35, 40 lines that were not positive. And sometimes that's the way we lack attention, and that's the way some information that may be misguiding pass through the process, right? If it is a suffering spirit, is one thing. If it is a message coming with the picture of good news or good message, if you like, be careful. Be very careful, because enlightened spirits never bring disorder, never bring fear, never bring anything that would add up to our own unbalancing situations. And sometimes I saw messages, especially when we had COVID, beautiful message with renowned names on the bottom. And in the middle of the message, there was something like, everybody gonna die. Do you think that is really a message from the spirit? Not at all, right? Could have been a message from the spirit and the medium himself or herself added into it. So the communication was not that clean. But enlightened spirits will not bring this tone of message. Okay? One copy of each outside communication whose reading has been authorized must be kept on file. This is interesting because this is showing us organization. If you want to do something properly, we have to be organized. If you want to do something organized, when we speak about mediumship, we also need to create guidelines. I won't say rules, because every mediumship meeting may have different guidelines, but we need to establish to a method. A method is a better word. We have to rely into a method to ensure that we can always come back to the whatever happened a year ago, 2 years ago, and we know we are not going away from what's supposed to be. There's a hand. There's a hand. Hi, Usuli.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Guilherme. Nice to
Morning.
see you. Proud to see you. You know, because here, em português say estranha. Can I say, can I say it in English? Apocrypha? It's because it, what
There
it
are simple
means?
words in English. There are
Because
simple words in English.
these are only words.
Strange. You can say strange message.
Strange. Yeah, thank you. Now understood.
Right? All communications obtained during the mediumistic meetings belong to the society, but the mediums who receive them away keep a copy. We had thousands of messages in our Spirit Center back home, to the point that we did not know what to do with that anymore, because we had lots of messages. So keep every single message if your method says so, yes. But after 80 years of activity, you may need a decent amount of space to keep all of them. All right. Article 21. Closed mediumistic meetings are reserved for society members and shall be held on the first, third, and if applicable, on the fifth Friday of each month. Again, there is no right or wrong, but a method is a must. We should follow a method. So like that, we know what to do, we get used to it. And me personally, I think a mediumistic meeting needs to be weekly. Otherwise, create disruption. Disruption on human beings. I'm not saying disruption of the meeting itself. Human beings, I know that every Monday, for example here, every Saturday, 10:30 UK time, I have my study. If I have first week, third week, fifth week, we get lost. Do I have a meeting today? Do I have a study today? You know, oh no, it's not today. It's not. Oh, too late. I lost it. So I'm more like an advocate that we need to have weekly. And when I see things happening in a different way, I also see things that could lead to people not attending the meeting. Right. So I prefer to have things weekly. The society reserves for individual mediumistic meetings all questions concerning administration, as well as the study materials that requires greater peacefulness and concentration, or which it deems proper to delve into before being addressed in the presence of outside individuals. Munir, he's a prime example of what you said earlier, right?
Yes, yes.
So it is a mix of meetings, type of meetings here.
Yeah,
right?
and the closed version that I opened, just the French version, just to check, it talks about closed meetings again, not individual meetings, because I was trying to understand what is individual meeting in the context of closed meetings. And it's as it says there, a séance particulière all the time. So it's closed meeting.
So in this particular case here is not a mediumship meeting. It's a meeting inside the Spiritist Center, if you like. Besides, all full members and free associates, correspondents, members passing through parties, and mediums who lend their help to the society have the right to attend meetings. Those meetings, not mediumship meetings. No outside person shall be admitted to closed mediumistic meetings. I will use that to discuss a bit about mediumship meeting, right? I had the opportunity to work in more than one type of mediumship meeting. I had the opportunity to work in an open mediumship meeting. So the meeting was in the room where people could come and see what was happening. And a lot of people say, ooh, that does not work. I can say it differently, right? And I also work in the mediumship meetings where at this time we close the door. If you're in, you're in. If you're out, sorry, you missed. And that's the way I feel more comfortable, to be honest, right? But I've learned through years to work in an open mediumship meeting. And regardless of what people may say, when the mediumship meeting starts, it's like we are disconnected for what is happening externally. We don't get disturbed. We don't get anything else. It's a normal mediumship meeting. A lot of people, oh, but it should. No. I'm an advocate that before you elaborate any conclusion or any theory, that you do some experimentation. After you do some experimentation, you may elaborate your own theory. Your own theory does not reflect reality, maybe, may reflect your own perception, but at least you did what you're supposed to do before you elaborate a theory. Hi, Denise.
What is the advantage of an open meeting?
I had that very same question many years ago when I was starting. And the answer I had was for one of the benefactors. It's an opportunity to show to people they are considering to come or that is in need to come. Considering to come is someone that is very sympathetic with mediumship meetings, but don't have an opportunity to go to one because our Spiritist centers does not create many opportunities, and that is a fact. And the second opportunity, the second explanation was people that need to come. In those meetings, sometimes we had people on the saloon, on the room, and suddenly a communication came. There was a communication for that person. There was psychography to that person. Not always, but eventually that has happened. And then how do we know? Because after the mediumship meeting ends, we had someone crying on the room. We had someone coming to us. That was for me. The name and everything, that was my father, for example. And we had no information about that at all. We did that was the first time the person came, for example. So those are the explanations we had, and there is no harm doing at all, providing that the people that are doing the meetings are responsible people, they have constant studies, everything we speak a lot here, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Osali.
So I'm sorry, I tried many times because I didn't see the little hand there. And I think Chico Xavier, he had many times open mediumism, especially with mothers. They asked, and he spirits answered to them. This is one also open, or isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
But human beings, they like to create their own rules or their own truth. And you hear quite often people saying that we shouldn't have open mediumship meetings. I'm not advocating that we should or we shouldn't. I'm just presenting to you here an experience. And technically speaking, there is no harm to the medium, there's no harm to the indoctrinator, there's no harm to the meeting as a whole. All right? But again, before anyone elaborate a theory, it is recommended to study the subject, to do experimentations if you can, and then you can elaborate something. Just say that I don't think, it's just a personal thought. All right? Besides full members of free associates, no outside person shall be admitted to close mediumship meetings. Bring someone into the mediumship meeting out of the blue. I would recommend first to speak to the benefactors. Is this meeting expected to receive those people? And sometimes they say yes. And then it's up to you to manage the situation. If it is just an admin meeting of the center, I don't see a point bringing anyone. That's not part of the discussions. That's not part of the Spirit Center. Article 22. General mediumistic meetings shall be held on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays of each month. I guess weekly, right? During general mediumistic meetings, the society authorizes admitting outside observers who may attend them temporarily without taking part of them. That's what we just spoke about it, right? Such authorization may be suspended when deemed appropriate. There are more than one reason why someone would like to be present in a mediumship meeting, right? So curiosity is not very positive. Curiosity to develop skills or to be part of it, maybe. Because I want to get a message from someone I love, not really. Because you don't know. We do not define which spirit will come to communicate or to send anything. So there are different reasons, right? So I would recommend to get people that are really willing to learn and to participate on mediumship meetings. Otherwise, I don't see a point bringing someone just for the sake of come to see what we do. It's not like that. No one may attend mediunistic meetings as an observer without having been introduced to the president by a society member, who shall be entrusted with ensuring that her guest will not cause trouble or interrupt the mediunistic meeting. Let's assume that we decide to invite someone. Hi, Munia. Go on.
Oh, hi, good evening. I was just checking against the French version I have. And Article 22 starts by saying that general meetings should be held on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month. Nothing to do about Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays of each month. So it means a lot, 3 times a week, general meetings, not
Once a
necessarily.
month. Once a month is a lot already, but anyway.
Yeah. Kind of saying, the second and the fourth.
Yeah.
I don't know if Valérie has a French version there. If it's
I
the
do.
same, yeah. Article 22.
Yeah, they're saying. So, sorry, which word caused you trouble?
The first sentence there, Article 22. In English,
what has West Guillaume has selected?
Sorry?
I was looking at what Guillaume has selected.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay, no, yes.
Yeah, now it's Article 22.
Nul ne peut assister aux séances comme auditeur sans être présenté au président par un membre de la société qui se rend garant de son intention de ne causer ni trouble ni interruption. I think it's correct. Or what? Oh, vendredi.
Yeah, this is the
It's
one.
totally different, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the second and the fourth Friday of each month.
But I don't like when we found things like that, because they're putting in risk our beliefs, or but the sense of what has been said remains the same in theory, right? But that's why I'm very cautious when we do translations, or when we decide to change words because that fit better my ears. We need to stick to what has been said initially, or what has been written initially. Let's talk about here about interrupt the mediunistic meeting, or a meeting. Let's say that we bring someone to our meeting, and this person start to be if it's a mediumship meeting, start to be really scared in the meeting. What's going to happen? Dissociative energies, even attitudes. Let's say we are in an enclosed place. I need to leave now. And the person will not leave alone because somebody needs to go after her to ensure her well-being. Things like that, So we need to know whom we are inviting to our meetings. And sometimes people, why he's asking so many questions? We are asking questions to ensure that everything will be okay. The society only admits persons as auditors, those who want to become members, or those who are interested in its work, or have already been sufficiently initiated into Spiritism science to understand it. Anyone who wants to attend only out of curiosity, or whose opinions are hostile, must absolutely be refused admission. When we can identify if the person is hostile, or just really curiosity is something, but sometimes we cannot. So we need to be prepared to some eventualities. An auditor is forbidden to speak except in exceptional cases as the president sees fit. Anyone who disturbs the order in any way or express ill will toward the society work may be invited to leave, and in all cases the fact shall be noted on the attendance sheet. She shall be refused entry in the future. The number of auditors may be limited to available seats, and those who can attend the ministry meetings shall be written down for hand, making mention of who recommended them and their address. Consequently, every request for admittance to session must be made to the President several days beforehand. The President is the only one authorized to grant admission cards until the list ends. Cards are only good for the day indicated and for the persons so designated. Permission cannot be granted to the same auditor for more than 2 sessions, except by the President's authorization for exceptional cases. No member may introduce more than 2 persons at a time. There is no set limit on the number of admissions that may be granted by the President. Auditors are not to be admitted after the mediumistic meeting has begun. So basically just showing us here that he had his method. Through his method, he thought was ensuring the security, the safety of the participants of the meeting, and that is important. We need to remember that we are responsible for the participants, and so we need to do our best to ensure their safety and that they are comfortable within the boundaries of the Spiritism meeting. Miscellaneous disposition, Article 23. All members of the society owe it their cooperation. Therefore, they have the duty to gather within their respective circle of observation those old or recent cases that can be linked to Spiritism and communicate them. At the same time, and whenever possible, they shall inquire about notoriety of such cases. They also have the duty to list all publications that may have more or less direct relation with the objective of Spiritism projects. So basically here, Kardec was not only prepared to discuss things inside the Spiritism, but things that were close enough to Spiritism that were worth his attention. Do we have that today? Yes, we do. We have the spiritualists, we have people that are from different creeds that also do mediumistic activities. Sometimes they don't even know, but they do. So this kind of things is something we're willing to even help if necessary. Article 24. The Society shall critique the various works published on Spiritism whenever it considers it appropriate. In order to do so, it shall entrust one of its full members or 3 associates with writing an opinion, which will be published in Revue Spirit when deemed appropriate. The Society, if you guys have any questions, if you want to jump in, please feel free to do so, all right? But I don't see here any need for it in this article. Article 25. The Society shall build a special library comprised of works that have been offered to it and that it acquires. At the Society's headquarters, full members may use this library and the archives on days and time set for this purpose. Kardec at the time, he had a place where he could elaborate such a thing. Thinking about what we see here in UK, we do not have a primacy that we can say that we can apply such a thing. I don't think we do. All I know so far, people rent places from time to time to have these activities. Considering that its responsibility may be morally compromised by private publication made by its members, the Society has determined that no one shall use the title Society member in any writing without having been authorized to do so, and without having made the text known beforehand. The Commission shall be in charge of making a report on the matter. If the Society regards the writing as incompatible with its principles, the author, after having been heard out, will be invited to modify or renounce its publication, or not to publish it under the title society member. If she does not wish to abide by the decision, she may be expelled. Any writing published anonymously by a society member without any clues as to whom the author belongs to the category of ordinary publication, and the society reserves the right to evaluate it. However, without wanting to hinder the free expression of personal opinion, the society invited its members who intended to publish in this manner to ask for its official opinion beforehand in the interest of the science. Since the society desires to maintain within itself the unity of the principles and the spirit of mutual benevolence, it may expel any member who becomes a source of trouble or who express open hostility against it through writings that compromise the doctrine, who holds subversive opinion, or through any procedure of which the society cannot approve. Nowadays, who can define what is subversive or not? How can I define what is subversive or not? You need to be very careful with that.
Can I
Yeah, go
ask
on.
a question in relation to that? When, for example, the Spiritist Federation decides their book's not going to be considered Spiritist by the understanding of Allan Kardec, how do they make that decision?
Our honest answer, yes, would be I don't know. But knowing human beings, the decision may be made on what I believe, what I feel like, or what I like, or what I don't like. And that is a risk, because Kardec himself does not define what is not. You know, and Kardec at his time, he was very sharp. Nowadays, do we have someone like him? I don't know. So even in our present moment in time, the Spiritist movement, they create so many rules, what is not, what cannot be done, and I don't find resonance in Kardec's teachings. So from where those rules came from? Why we have to go through a university, as I call, of mediumship before you even consider to go near a mediumship meeting? Things like that. You don't find that in Kardec. You know, there are so many rules created by human beings, and sometimes human beings, they are coming from different creeds, bringing with them what they think is right. So my line of thought would be, go to Kardec. Try to find your answer in Kardec. When you don't find your answer in Kardec, I'm pretty sure you find directives that will point you to the right place. You know? And talking about that, what we do after this meeting here, many people think is that something that shouldn't be happening, is our virtual mediumship meetings. And I ask why? Where in Kardec says not to do it? Actually, there's a work going on that does exactly the opposite, because we were able to identify in Kardec enough points to reinforce what we do. So, but people create their own truth, right? That's why I said earlier today, before you create a theory, you must have studied the subject, you must have practiced or make any experimentation at least after a period of time, so you can elaborate a worthwhile theory. I'm trying to choose my words here not to be very aggressive toward the subject, but
No,
only
I
after.
think it makes sense, and I thank you for providing your thoughts. And I haven't studied much, but it makes sense what you were saying by what I have come across. Yeah.
when I say something that is my belief, I'll tell you guys, my belief, my personal point of view is something. And that sometimes people forget. My personal point of view is that is not correct. So that does not make a truth, right? But many people over the years, they create their own truth and they promote that in such a way that they create like hundreds of people sharing the same opinion because they heard once the person seems to be okay, so that's the way to do. And sometimes we are lacking the basis to do it.
I think that's brilliant because that's what you just said, and we are, you know, it's so easy to fall in this trap of my opinion and without having the knowledge, and like or base your opinion because it's going to be based on your own personal beliefs instead of in what is exactly written, isn't it, by Kardec. That's really good. Thank you.
And just to make a picture of what we are saying here, sometimes we lacking the ability to make questions, right? When we are kids, we ask everything. Mom, 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 all day. As we grown up, we kind of losing that power. And when we are adults like we almost don't ask anymore because we are embarrassed. We are embarrassed in front of an answer that we don't want to hear. We are embarrassed because I don't want people to think that I don't know. And many other options. But, all right. But we should be asking every time we feel there's something weird, ask, where are you coming from? Where is the basis? And I gave an example here a few months ago, I guess. There was a spirit center where the leading medium, every time when she was doing healing, she removed her shoes. Well, after a period of time, everybody decided to remove the shoes because they noticed that's what she does. And then someone came and asked her, well, I'm pretty sure that what you're doing is because you want to get connected with the earth, because of magnetism, because of electricity. Oh, sorry, no. It's because I have, I don't know the word in English, but she has something on her bones, on the feet, protruding, and every time she was standing for too long, that would hurt. So she removed the shoes, not to get a hurting feet, right? And then everybody on the Spirit Center started to develop massive theories about fluid, electricity, magnetism, to be connected to the spiritual world, whatever. And there was nothing like that. It was just because she felt pain on her feet, you know? So when we do see something, ask questions. It's the only way to move forward. Valérie.
Sorry, I have to go back to the last sentence of the last paragraph, where it says that when somebody who is not linked to the society wants to publish something, it's written they should, the last line, they should ask for their official opinion, and it's not what is meant. If they're not publishing in the name of the society, they should not ask for their official opinion. It's the word in French is officieux, which is the opposite. That should be unofficial, and it makes more sense if it has nothing to do with the society. So it's not so important, but it's a nonsense here with official.
That's very important. So then, just to make an exercise with you guys here, why it has been changed? Is that because the translator felt like that's the way it should be done? Or there was really lack of the knowledge of the language, the original language? Could be anything, you know?
I believe it's a second because the word is very close. Official would be officiel. And here it's officieux. It's the same word, only the end changed. So I would believe that the person just didn't know French enough.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But what I'm trying to show you guys here is that we need to study ourselves. We need to go to the source of the information. And every time something does not make sense, go to the source, you know, because I may be trying to lead this group in a direction that I want you guys to go. It may not be the right direction at all. Maybe I want to drive you to make little followers in something that I want you to go. And what I'm doing is not right. So how would you know? Go on Kardec, on the original books of Kardec. Sometimes even in the translation, you see, could be a bit misleading. And I'm doing a work aside, and I found recently that FAB in Brazil, they modify some original books from Kardec. And I found that when I was doing translation. I could not find the article that I found on the Brazilian book into the original French one. I said, oh, they have changed the book here. And I found that by accident, but nevertheless, they are different, you know? So we need to be careful. Hi, Munir. Your mic is closed, Munir.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Going back to what Patricia said, I think individually, each one of us should work like a member of the Supreme Court of a country. We have to abide to the Constitution. If the Constitution, tells us that it has to be done in this way, and for us Spiritists, the Constitution is the work of Allan Kardec. Sometimes it's not mentioned there. So Kardec didn't have, for instance, the internet in those days, but he didn't, forbid that as well. So we have to, each one of us, analyze things and to say it is a Spiritist work, to see if it goes against or not what Kardec has said. If it doesn't, it's just a natural evolution of things. But to create a special court, to create a special group to tell us, each one of us, what is Spiritist and what is not, it's just borrowing the example of the church, So if I say it is okay, it is okay. If I say it's not okay, even if you don't agree, you have to obey, this kind of thing. So we are all humans. We all fail. Even being a member of, one of the federations in any country, we are there to help and not to create rules that people have to abide to and full stop. We want to sometimes to spare us the work of reasoning, thinking. Does Kardec say that, or he doesn't? Does he forbid that, or he doesn't? And it's a work we want to delegate to someone. It's easier to say, oh, what they say, I believe. If they say it's not okay, I agree it's not okay. And the spirits are very adamant in regard to that. They say, we don't come to tell you everything, to answer all your questions. We are here to guide you, so you can come to the conclusions, not accept what we come to tell you.
Munir, I'll go even a bit further than that. Kardec said that if science could be a philosophical science as well, proves that anything that he done is wrong or incomplete, providing it follows a pattern, a study, a methodological evaluation, things like that, should be incorporated in the Spiritism. So that's why it's important. Study, elaborate an environment where you can do some research, where you can do some experimentation. After a period of time, if you validate your experimentation, then in theory, the whole Spiritism movement should be able to accept it. But we cannot forget, Spiritism movement is made of human beings. Sometimes because I don't like, or I don't know, so I will say it is not okay, right?
Yeah, Kardec used the scientific methodology in his work, and that's what we should use. If you say A, so prove it's A. If you give me enough evidence and you can prove what you're saying, I should accept. Why would I deny because I don't like, or because it comes from you and not from me? From
just a minute.
Okay.
It's a shame that I don't have it in English here, but just a minute. The one I have is not. You can go on the Spiritist book, conclusion 4. Kardec says something like that. Prove, not by denying it, but by facts, that this is not real, never was, and cannot be. So basically, on that sentence, he's saying, do your homework. If, as a result of your homework, you come to a conclusion by facts that that cannot be, cannot happen, does not exist, so be it. Otherwise, don't say anything. Camila, I'm pretty sure you contorting yourself because I'm not allowing you to speak for almost 10 minutes.
That's fine. I will put in the chat. I send a email for them asking to fix the translation because in this website has all documentation, right? I believe that they centralize the whole content indeed for the books. I don't know. But I want to share because I think you folks know French and English, so maybe you'll get more places. I don't know. That is wrong as well, has in the same way. And the other thing that I would like to say about your saying is like, I don't know. I think I haven't been thinking about that, right? It's a lot of responsibility. That is my humble opinion. I don't know. Maybe I would like to know more about your insights. It's a lot of responsibility. Someone like very famous, like Divaldo, whatever, go in the television and say, do mediumships online, right? Because he or she doesn't know what kind of people you listen that he message, right? What can happen, how if that people are prepared, how people you doing that, right? If he's in the same way or not. So I believe that sometimes people, mainly these famous one, they are more concerned to say things because they don't want to cause harm, right? They don't want to be responsible for a consequence because they don't know who might listen that change, how the person will use that information.
Let me say what I'm going to answer to you in a way that can be very positive. We are all human beings, regardless of name, our position in society, or what people believe we are. We are human beings. As human beings, we are also incarnated spirits with beliefs, faults, fears. We all do, right? We also are responsible for what we do and what we don't do. Let's assume that Munir is one of those icons on the Spiritism. We all look at what Munir is saying, what he does, what he don't. If he remove his shoes or not remove his shoes, when they do healing, things like that, right? We all like to observe Munir very closely. Depending on how he will get used to that kind of situation, he may be neutral, he may not be neutral anymore, because we are human beings. We have all the same defaults. We may be inclined to something else after a period of time. But then, back to his responsibility, he's responsible in what he say, in what he do not say. If Munir, for example, says, don't do the subject you spoke about, don't do mediumship meetings online, he is responsible for what he's saying. He may be creating a delay in something that cannot be delayed anymore, but he may be delaying things for 10 years. In this 10 years, how many people could have been helped with what he's saying cannot be done? Likewise, if he says to everyone, you must do it online, What if he's wrong? He's also responsible for, he's responsible for the outcome, if he says so or not. So what should he do before he say yes or no for something? He should study, he should evaluate, he should create an environment where he can simulate what he believes is right, to prove what he believes is right is right. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm saying to prove what he believes. Because if a method is positive, this method will be reproduced if you follow the precepts of the method. If you follow the guidelines, this method can be reproduced in China, Japan, Brazil, Americas, Europe. And the outcome needs to be close by. This is science. And if he is right, through a method like that, he will come to a conclusion, yes, what I taught is really right, because now I have data. I've been experimenting this for quite some times, and I'm very convinced because now I have data to prove what I believe. And then he will say, yes, do this is positive or do this is negative. Without that, it is a guesswork. It is a guesswork, period. You may don't like to eat carrot cake. It's your choice. You prefer orange cake. It's your choice. But my choice is the opposite. I prefer carrot cake. It's because I like. But you cannot say to me that carrot cake will kill me. Because it will not. But then you are eliminating from my menu something that I would like to, because you don't like, or because you had bad problems with that. No, we need to remain, I would say, we need to remain in the boundaries created by Kardec. What Kardec has created is experimentation. Prove what you're talking about. Make meetings. Prove what you're wrong. And even though if it's something new, if you manage to prove is right, bring it on board. Otherwise, it's just guesswork. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how you think you are. It's guesswork. What is important is to use science, because a lot of people like to say that Spiritism is science, but they don't practice science on the Spiritism. Very little people nowadays practice science on the Spiritism. Very little. We are more like going into something else than to the scientific philosophy that we used to be.
Exactly.
We need to remain true to Kardec's teachings. Replicate Kardec's method. It did work for him, it will work for you. But if you don't, again, it's just a guesswork. I think, or I don't like. No. Find support to whatever you think is right. And saying all I'm saying here, I'm not saying I'm right, you're wrong. Because we all have our personal truth. And the only way to know which one is more kind of correct is following a method of investigation, of experimentation, of practice. As you mentioned, the virtual mediumship meetings, the mediumship online, we are doing that for 4 years. 8 weeks, 8 times a week. We have data. We have results. Can I say something about that? Yes, I can. Based on what? In all the records that we have, in all the data we have, the amount of spirits that came through. Yes, I can. If you don't like, it's fine. I respect your opinion. Please bring the same amount of data defending your position, your opinion, and I may have to evaluate mine. I may be wrong. I'm very open to reevaluate all the data we had, all the positive data we have, if you bring me equivalent showing negative data, perhaps I will learn something in your research. What have you done? Perhaps you learned something with mine. You know what I mean? That's the way we should be thinking. Hi, Osali.
Guilherme, if somebody took notes about this, you said a spirit book, which chapter and article, because I would like not side, because I have now then in Swedish, and I would like to know because I think it's very important what you said.
Conclusion 5, Spirit's book. Okay?
Only that. So thank you.
Hi, Christine.
Hi everyone. I guess you've basically been saying what I was going to say, which was for a number of years now I've been on and off with you guys and other studies about Kardec. And what's always said is it's a scientific based method of understanding Spiritism. And that it's, to me, it's all based on evidence. And it's exactly what you've just said. So I just wanted to say that if I didn't believe it, and and I've done jobs where it's evidence based, then I wouldn't be here. So for all those people who don't believe Kardec's method, and there's a lot of people that don't, that's their loss, because I think it's a good approach to Spiritism. And it's something, as I said to you, in Australia, it's not well known.
It's almost all time here. I'm going to use what you said, Christine, just to wrap up things here. And I remember that in an event, someone was very advocated in regards to how mediumship meetings should be conducted or not. And one member of the group, there was a lecture, and this lecture was open enough to allow people to go back and forth with questions or opinions. One member, the person doing the lecture, who was very advocate about how mediumship meetings should be done, and one person that were attending to this lecture raised the hand. Excuse me, how many times a month you participate on a mediumship meeting? Oh, I don't participate on mediumship meetings. Why I'm giving that example? Because we need to bring the practice into whatever we advocate. Kardec says, clearly, he laid down in front of us the method. The method with the practice will give you what you need to defend anything you want to. Just the study is not enough. Study and the method, a bit better, but it's not enough. Study, method, and practice will bring to anyone the desired support to defend a theory, if you like. All right? So, it is our time. And Raphael is here, he's not here. Well, Raphael is not here. I know we have friends join us for the prayer. Who wants to lead the prayer? Interesting. Sorry?
I think it's Munir, but I don't know.
Okay, Munir, she chose you, Munir.
Let's now, at this special moment, join our thoughts, our hearts, connecting to the benefactors in the large group that is with us, helping us, supporting us, assisting us, and like a large family, all together, trying to raise ourselves in the direction of our Father and Creator. May at this special moment, the good vibrations, the healthy fluids that are around us and provided by our beloved Master be extended to all corners of this earth, our planet, our home, and may every need at this moment be assisted. Every tear may be dried out. Every situation that brings despair may receive consolation and love. May all the difficulties that our planet's inhabitants may face today, that bring them pain and suffering, may be the awakening of a better time, of the spiritual reality that each one of us carry inside us. May we all raise our head, looking up into the sky and seeing the blessings that we receive every day. And together with that, the certainty that we are not alone, that each one of us, over 8 billion incarnates, and many times more discarnate, on this planet, are under the care, the love, and the assistance of our Master Jesus, who promised that no one would be forgotten, would go astray, that he would seek each one of us and help us in our real needs. May peace, may harmony be present on the planet, on our attitudes, on our daily thoughts, actions, so that as we receive the love that comes from high above, we may take in our turn to those around us, wherever we are. May we learn to blossom wherever we are, bringing the beauty that we all carry inside, the light that starts to shine forth from our souls. So, with thoughts of gratitude for the eternal love that is shed upon us, and for the certainty that we are not alone in our journey, and that we have the responsibility for those who are next to us, we ask permission to end our meeting today. So be it.
So be it. Well, very nice
Thank you,
to see you.
Munir. Sorry, I was late.
Thank you. No problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
See
Thank
you
you,
next week.
everyone.